Hi students, hope everyone is fine and safe. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to my new video. And today we're going to start the lecture series for this particular subject, Electrical and Electronics Engineering. The subject code is 21EES101T. And in this video we will see the importance of this particular subject, syllabus discussion, and how to approach this particular subject. To start with, we will start the importance of this particular subject. Why, being an EC student, you have to study this particular subject. Dear students, this subject is very important subject for your career. Right? You are studying this subject in your very first semester. That's because you have to understand the basics about electrical and electronics. And being an EC student, this subject is going to be very important. That's because for all these 4 years, you will study about lot of electronic components, electronic devices, and you will solve a lot of problems using electronic circuits. You will study about digital electronics, right? So all these things will be covered in this particular subject. And this subject will be a little difficult for you since you're studying in the very first year. But if you understand the basic concepts, it will be very easy. And being an EC student, first 2 units is very important because first 2 units you study very basics about electrical circuits, how to solve any problems in electrical circuits, what is series and parallel resistance, how to convert a series to parallel or parallel to series resistance, and as well as source transformations, how to solve problems using KVL, KCL. You will study about lot of theorems as well. And more importantly, in Unit 2, you will study about K-maps, which is very basics for digital electronics. So this subject is a combination of almost 3-4 subjects. It also covers some areas of electrical engineering, where power engineering, you study about electrical machines, and coming to EC, you study about basics about electronic components, digital electronics. So such an important subject is this triple E, electrical and electronics engineering. So if you understand the basic concepts, definitely you can able to easily study this particular subject. Coming to syllabus discussion, so unit 1 is about electrical circuits, electric circuits, where you'll study the basics about circuits, right? In most of these concepts you would have studied in your 12th standard. That is your how to analyze mesh analysis, node analysis, Kirchhoff's current law, voltage law, and all those things. Apart from it, you will see a lot of theorems like Thevenin theorem, maximum power transfer theorem, superposition theorem. Believe me, students, all these are very important topics, and you cannot omit this topic, because if you omit this topic, definitely you will have problem in your second year, third year, and all those things, right? So all this is very important basic. So you got to completely study this particular unit by understanding the concepts. And the other concepts includes the RMS, half wave, full wave rectifier, and RLC circuits. What is RC, RL, and RLC circuits? And you will study about fundamentals of three-phase and three-phase winding connections, right? And you will also see star and delta connections. What is half wave and full wave rectifiers? You see all these things in this unit 1, right? Out of this, these topics is very important, and you have to, being an EC student, you have to understand all these things: RL, RC, RLC series as well, right? And full wave rectifier, half wave rectifier, all those are very important concepts. And coming to unit 2, it's about electronics. So it's completely about electronics, where you study basics about different semiconductor devices, diodes, transistors. You study about SCR, MOSFET, their VI characteristics, how it works, what is regulators, what is SMPS, and very importantly, you will study about basics about logic gates. Logic gates is very important concepts, where you'll study about K-map, how to solve K-map, 2-variable K-map, 3-variable K-maps. This is very important for digital electronics, right? And you will also see problems regarding solving logical expressions, all those things, right? And unit 3 is all about triple E, that is electrical engineering, where you study about basics about machines, what is DC machines, what DC motors, brushless motors, three-phase index motors, right? And you study about introduction to electrical drives, what is DC drives, right? And you will also see about AC and DC machines. All those things you will study in Unit 3. And when it comes to Unit 4, once again, the Unit 4 is very vast, where here you study about transducers and sensors. You study about lot of sensors, lot of instruments, right? How it works, what is the basic principle behind it, and you will see a lot of transducer classification. What are the different types of transducers? You will see hell a lot of transducers here, right? So you have to understand the basic principles of all the transducers, and you will study about a lot of sensors as well, which is photodiodes, phototransistors. All those things are very, very important concepts, right? So it's all about completely transducers and sensors. And Unit 5, once again, it is power engineering. Power engineering, it's going to be basic for you in in your first year, where you study about electrical supply system, you will study about distribution of power, how typical AC and DC power supply schemes works, and you will also study about safety measures in electrical systems. You will study about electrical vehicles, basics about electrical vehicles, right, and different types of wirings as well, right. So this subject is a complete subject which covers basics of electrical and electronics, right? And how to approach this subject in exam point of view, how to study this particular subject. Believe me, students, only Unit 1 you will have some difficulty in learning it, because you will have a lot of concepts to remember, to solve the problems. You will do some mistakes, all those things, right? If you can able to cover Unit 1 logically by understanding each and every concepts, then remaining units you can study very easily. And Unit 2, it's all about, you study about K-maps. So it's like definitely you have one question from K-map in your university. So K-map is very, very important. And if you're very clear with that K-map concepts, then Unit 2 is very simple, where the other concepts are completely theory, right? But Unit 1, you have to study about all these theorems, and you have to study about this delta star combinations, all those things. Unit 1 is really tough, but you have to really understand and study, right? And coming to Unit 3 is all about theory, where you will study about different machines and motors. All you're going to do is you're going to draw the diagram and you're going to write the explanations, right? Which is very, very simple. Definitely you can study easily. And Unit 4, once again, the syllabus is vast in Unit 4, but you can study very easily. It's all about sensors and transducers. You will just draw the diagram, you got to understand the principle and how it works. While studying itself, you will just see the diagram and you will understand the principle. That is more than enough, right? You can write by yourself. And Unit 5 is very small unit, where you have only 2-3 important topics, and that too, like electrical vehicles is very, very important concept. That is very, very simple, complete theory, right? It's a complete theory in it. So on a whole, if you see Unit 1, if you concentrate well in Unit 1, definitely you can score good in this particular subject, right? All of the units are completely theory, right? So this is how you have to approach this particular subject. And now this is the course outcome. Why you want to study this particular subject? As I said, this is a complete subject for electrical and electronics. It covers basics about electrical and electronics. So by studying Unit 1, you will learn the fundamentals of DC and AC circuits. And by studying Unit 2, you will know about basics about analog and digital electronics. Whereas Unit 3, you will study about machines and different motors. And Unit 4, it's about transducers and sensors, right? You will come across the working and principle of all those things, and how the power is dissipated, how the power is generated, about electrical vehicle, all these things you study in Unit 5. So on a whole, after completing this particular subject, you will have some basic knowledge in electrical circuits, digital electronics, electric machines, right? And you'll have basic knowledge about sensors as well, right? And about basic concepts in power engineering as well. So this is the course outcome of this particular subject. Before starting any particular subject, you have to understand why is that you want to study that particular subject. So this is the reason you study this particular subject, right? So apart from this, today we'll see some basic terminologies and components. When it comes to basic terminologies, when you start any electrical circuit, you have to understand what is voltage, what is current, and what is resistance. right? Like even in your school days, you would have come across this voltage, current, resistance in your physics, right? If you take any DC, simple DC circuit, you can see this is the voltage source, and you'll have a resistance, and the current, it will be mentioned here, all right? Now, what is voltage? Like how we define a voltage? If you take two different points, A and B, right? A and B. Consider the potential at A is high and at B is low, right? So the difference between these 2 points, that is the difference between 2 points between the higher potential and lower potential, that is called as voltage, right? The potential difference between these 2 points, right? We say this higher potential, we are considering it a higher potential, this lower potential. The potential difference between these 2 points, that is called as voltage. And understand one particular thing, my dear students, voltage is not a quantity, it is just a unit which measures the potential difference, right? So you can see here the potential difference 2 points in an electrical circuit, right, is the amount of energy required to move a unit charge between 2 points. That is called as volts. I'll come to this point little later, right? And what is current now? What is current? Current is the flow of electrons or a flow of electrical charge. That is called as current, and it is measured as amperes. Now we know that the potential difference between these 2 points, that is called as electric voltage, right? Now, if you join these 2 points by using a conductor, say for example, I'm going to join these 2 points using a wire, right? Now the electrons will start flowing from higher potential to lower potential, and that is what we call it as, that flow of electrons is called this as current, right? And only if you join these two potential, the current can be generated, right? Whereas the voltage is something, right? The difference, potential difference between these 2 points, right? I'll give you a very good example here. Consider a water tank, right? Your home, right? Consider this as your home, right? And you need water, and you have water tank, right? At the top, right? And now, consider this water tank is having full of water, right? But if you need uh, water at your home, right? What do you need to do? You need to connect a pipe, right? Connect a pipe from water tank to this particular point, correct? Only then you will get water, right? So now I consider this, like initially before connecting this pipe, I consider this as higher potential because it has full of water. We don't have nothing here, right? So I consider this lower potential. Now these 2 points, right? The potential difference these 2 points, right? That is called as voltage. Now I'm going to connect this using a pipe, right? So after connecting the pipe, I can receive the flow of water, right? Water flow will happen through the pipe, right? Through the pipe. Now you can see this flow of water is called as current. This flow of water is called as current, right? And it flows from higher potential to lower potential, right? And the pressure at which the water falls, right? The pressure which makes the water to come from the tank to this particular place, that is called as voltage. And that is what we mentioned here, the amount of energy required to move an unit charge between 2 points, right? The pressure that makes the water to flow from here to this particular point, right? That is called as voltage, right? And what is resistance? Resistance, here we have resistance. Resistance is something which resists the flow of electrons, which resists the flow of electrical charge. That is called as resistance, right? And you have to understand the conventional difference between a conventional current and the electron current. Normally, the electron currents, we consider the conventional current, right, from higher potential to lower potential. That is from positive charge to negative charge, right? And electrons is normally negatively charged, right? So here, if you consider here, the conventional current direction will be from here, from higher potential to lower potential, from plus to minus. Whereas the electron flow is from negative to positive, right? We can also say in this way, the conventional current is the direction of conventional current is opposite to the electron flow, right? So this is very basic thing. And apart from it, you have to understand some basic electronic components where you know what is resistor. Resistor is something which resists the flow of electrons, and this is how the resistor will look, and this is the symbol of the resistor, right? And capacitor, where capacitor is the one which stores the electrical charge, right? And that is, it stores the charge, right? It stores the charge in the form of an electrical field, that is called as capacitor, and this is the symbol of capacitor. And what is inductor? Inductor is another electronic component which is also used to store the charge, but here the charge is stored in the form of a magnetic field. And this is the symbol of the inductor, right? And what is diode? Diode is an electrical component which uh, allows the flow of electrons in one particular direction and resists the flow of electrons in the other direction, right? That is called as diode, right? And you have transistor. Transistor is a very important electrical component where this is the symbol of our transistor, and this transistor can be used as an amplifier, and it can also be used as a switch. You know what is amplifier? Amplifier is which amplifies the signal, right? Which increases the power of the signal. That is called as amplifier. When it comes to transformer, transformer just transforms charge, electrical charge from one circuit to the other, right? It just transforms the electrical charge, right? Whereas here, this is the symbol of transformer. So this is the symbol of transformer. From primary to secondary, it will just transform the charge, right? So this is the basic electronic components, right? So today what we have seen is we have seen the introduction about electrical and electronics subject. We have seen why you said you have to study this particular subject, and we've seen some basic terminologies about electrical and electronic components, right? I believe this video will be very useful for you. Thank you, my dear students.